She is talented, passionate, and a young business owner of Tara's Tasty Table Catering as a junior in high school. Okay? Up in Frisco. She's cooked alongside Dallas's chefs of Dean Faring, Jennifer Batchel, and Jean Cristiano. So I'm pleased to introduce to you the present and future of DFW chefs, Chef Tara O'Donnell.
Okay, this is working. Hi everybody, my name's Tara O'Donnell. I'm 16 years old and I live in Frisco, Texas. And like she said, I'm the owner of Tara's Tasty Table, which is a private catering company in the North Texas area. And I'm really excited to be here today because if you couldn't tell by my name, I am Irish. My dad's side of the family is Irish and they live in Derry in Northern Ireland. I've got some family that's Irish here. So I'm really excited to be here because this means a lot to me and I feel very at home. We're going to be making dairy soup and Irish wheaten bread. Both of these are my grandma's recipes. She lives in Derry. And so yeah, I'm really excited. So we can get started on the dairy soup. So dairy soup comes from the city of Derry in Northern Ireland. Has anybody seen Dairy Girls on Netflix? Yeah, you've seen it? Yeah, so my aunt assures me that this is a pretty good representation of the time. So now you kind of have a picture of where we're talking about. And this soup is traditional to the area. A while ago, back in, the olden days, I guess we should say, this was very economical to make. It would feed a crowd. And I guess it's kind of our version of chicken noodle soup, but it's really healthy. There's no fat. There's just protein, vegetables, and grains. So if you're health conscious, it's super easy to make and really healthy. So there's 3 easy steps to the soup. And for time reasons, I've skipped I've done step 1 and 2 ahead of time. So you're gonna add 2 chicken breasts to a pot and cover with water and simmer for 30 minutes. And then take them out, and to the same pot, you're gonna add half a cup of barley, half a cup of split peas, and half a cup of lentils. And I have them in these little bowls if we wanna pass them around and kind of see what they look like. Do you wanna pass them around? You guys can move them behind if you want to. All right, so you can buy these in your dried rice and beans section of your grocery store, and they're really inexpensive. I think it's about 99 cents to $1.99 for each. So really, really inexpensive. Okay, so in this pot, I don't know if you're, can you see it? Can you see? Yeah, okay. All right, so we've got all of the barley, split peas, and lentils in here. And we've also added some seasoning. So I love my grandma, but her recipe is very basic and probably they don't have a lot of the things that are readily available like they are today. So we've added a bay leaf and a star anise, which if you don't know what this is, it actually grows on a tree native to Asia, and it has a slight licorice flavor. You guys can pass this one back so you see what it looks like. But our soup is not going to taste like licorice, don't worry. It's just going to add another level of flavor. Don't worry, we're not going to have gross licorice flavored soup. Okay, so we have that in here, and now we're going to add our vegetables. So 2 carrots, 1 small onion, and 2 sticks of celery, and then 2 leeks. So I'm going to add those in. So if you don't know what a leek is, I also have a leek to show you. This is a leek. It's in the onion family, but it's sweeter than an onion. So this is a leek. And mix that up. When you're cooking leeks, you want to make sure to chop right underneath the green area and then cut it in half and rinse under water because it's got lots and lots of layers. So make sure to put it under the water and kind of fan it out between your fingers so the water goes between each layer because you don't want any gross dirt or, a worm or something. I don't want that. I don't want that in my soup. Okay, so now I'm going to add some chicken broth. There we go. Okay, and then put that on there. Okay, so now this is going to cook for about 30 minutes. Now we have our vegetables and the barley, split peas, and lentils in there, and that's gonna cook for 30 minutes. So while that is happening, we're gonna get started on the wheaten bread. So this is my grandma's recipe, like I said, and every time that I've been back to Ireland, I've had dairy soup and wheaten bread. And I was just there over Christmas, and I was trying to think about what I wanted to show you guys. And these two recipes are recipes that when I think of my grandma, when I think of home, I think of these. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna make is buttermilk. Now you can buy buttermilk. So for that you would need 375 milliliters of buttermilk, but we're actually gonna make it ourselves. So 350 milliliters of whole milk, and this is the metric system. I know it's quite confusing for us Americans, but on the side of a liquid measuring cup, they've got all the milliliter measurements. So 350 milliliters of whole milk, perfect. And then 2 tablespoons of white distilled vinegar. And this makes buttermilk, it's super easy. Okay. So that's our milk. Now we're gonna set that off to the side while we make our dry ingredients. So again, metric system, quite confusing, so I've pre-measured everything. So we have 200 grams of wholemeal flour. You can find this at Kroger or Tom Thumb. It just says wholemeal white flour. So 200 grams of that. And 100 grams of self-raising flour. Self-raising flour is all-purpose flour, and it has baking soda and baking powder and salt already in it. So yeah, we're gonna add some of that. And then we've also got 100 grams of old-fashioned oats. Okay. Then I have half a teaspoon of salt. Oh, we've got some samples. So this is the dairy soup coming out to you while that's cooking over here. So you guys can get started trying that. There we go. And then 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Okay. Now we're gonna use a good old-fashioned wooden spoon. This is all my grandma has. She's got like regular tablespoons, regular teaspoon, a random spatula, and a bunch of wooden spoons. So we only need a wooden spoon. You don't need a mixer or anything. No. Just a wooden spoon and a bowl. Okay, so we mix that up. And now make a well. Again, can you see? We're pushing the dry ingredients to the side of the bowl to expose the bottom of the bowl. This we're gonna add 1 large egg. Does anybody have any questions so far? Is there any questions? No? We're good? Okay. And then 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or canola oil, both work the same. In my grandma's recipe that she sent me, it says cooking oil, and I was like, what is that? You have a question. Oh, you have a question.
How many lentils are you supposed to put in the soup?
How many lentils? Half a cup of lentils. Half a cup of lentils. In my grandma's recipe, it said cooking oil, and I was like, what is that? Is that vegetable oil, grapeseed oil? She had to be a tiny bit more specific, but I figured it out. It's canola or vegetable oil. Okay, so now that we've made a kind of a thick paste in the bottom, that's when we're going to get started adding our buttermilk. And you'll see that when you pour it, it's kind of chunky. Don't worry about that. It's not, you didn't make it spoiled or anything, but we're going to add a little bit at a time and keep mixing. So have any of you guys remembered from school or the kids here, have you ever done the volcano experiment? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where you put baking soda and then you put vinegar at the top, and then what happens is it explodes, yeah, or erupts or whatever happens. And so that's basically what's happening inside our bread, because we've added baking soda and now we're adding vinegar. And basically reacting, and that's gonna make lots of bubbles inside our bread for a really light and airy bread inside. So basically what's happening is we're making volcano bread. Okay, added all the milk. And just give it a good mix. Okay. Any other questions? Good? Got it? Okay. Okay. Alright, so that's that. And now for baking, we're going to use a 9" by 9" baking dish. So this is a cake pan, just a regular cake pan. And I'm going to grease it with butter. So a stick of unsalted butter works best. I wouldn't recommend using spray oil or cooking oil. You can use butter. And just press it along to the bottom to grease the pan. Because we don't want our bread to stick to the bottom. Okay, so that's that. Let me put this here, and now we can just add our batter to the pan. I don't know if you can see in there, but it's super airy and bubbly. So that's like all the baking soda and the vinegar that have reacted. So scoop it in, and you don't want to press too hard because we've created all those bubbles. You want to keep all the